What ability do I have that lets me self-heal? I legitimately don't know. I mean, I know I have my healing factor, but I feel like that's never activated.
Because you've got to be not receiving, like, damage. You gotta wait for it a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm always receiving damage because I'm an idiot. Good morning, gamers, and welcome to the first installment of my How to Play Marvel Rivals series. The original plan was to go in alphabetical order, but some sly devil changed his name in my notes to secure the first slot. So today we'll be covering everyone's new favorite man in the red suit. The merc with a mouth, just ask Wolverine, Deadpool. And of course, the day I commit to releasing full breakdowns of every character, NetEase has to mess with me by releasing the most complex character in the history of the game. Ah well, the last video got a ton of views, so I guess I'm in this for the long haul. Do you enjoy making annoying comments and witty quips until even the people in your stack decide to mute you? Are you the kind of person that would rather solo ult someone and then flame them in all chat than play with your team? Have you ever wanted to tell Galactica to shut the hell up?
It's Galacta, daughter of Galactus, you idiot!
Then you, my friend, might be a Deadpool main. The thing that makes Deadpool such a difficult character to break down is the fact that his main gimmick, being represented in every role, means that he essentially has 3 different kits. Add to that his one-of-a-kind upgrade system, and I'm basically covering 6 different characters in one video. I've seen 45-minute how-to-play guides that consist entirely of ability breakdowns. You might suggest then that I just make 3 separate character guides. But all of his kits are still equally Deadpool, so most of the advice in those videos would end up being the same. Instead, in the spirit of keeping this video algorithm-friendly, I'm going to attempt a rapid-fire listing of all of Deadpool's abilities and how they differ from role to role and when they're upgraded. If you don't have ADHD, you might want to set the video to 0.75 speed here. And if you want a more in-depth coverage, then, like I said, there are 45-minute breakdowns for all of these. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! The first thing that needs to be established is that instead of ult charge, DP gains experience points for damage, kills, and time over the course of a match. He can also take a picture after he gets a kill, which makes him invincible for a few seconds and grants him a ton of XP. On a level up, he can choose to upgrade any one of his abilities, adding a predetermined bonus effect. Unlike in photo mode, you are not invincible when upgrading, so keep that in mind.
I don't think you should have been reading your book there, Aries.
It was so interesting, I couldn't help myself.
Bet you there were like naked boys on that page, huh?
No.
That's why you was so
No.
You like boys, don't you?
No! You can only upgrade each ability once, and you keep your levels but not your upgrades when you switch to a different Deadpool. His ultimate builds based on a completely different factor called style points, which is a measurement of how often you land your abilities. This builds up so fast that they've given him a cooldown on his ultimate. This character breaks all of the rules. Seriously, in a straight-up reversal of common rivals knowledge, it is good advice to always burn ult on Deadpool before you die, because respawning shaves a good portion off the cooldown and you'll probably build it by next fight anyway. On a slightly less non-traditional note, Deadpool's last passive is his healing factor, just like in the movies. And just like in the movies, it doesn't at all prevent you from getting eviscerated, it just lets you come back from getting eviscerated. It's a passive 25 healing per second as long as you're not taking damage for 5 seconds, which kicks into high gear and heals double for 4 seconds if you take a big chunk of damage, although that effect is on a 60-second cooldown. You will probably never notice this effect, but it will most likely save your life at least a few times. Onto his primary fire, Deadpool has 2 attack modes, dual guns or dual katanas. Like Blade, but twice as cool. These are pretty self-explanatory and stay mostly consistent from role to role, aside from the damage numbers, which are higher on dual pool, and the fact that heal pool's weapons heal allies as well. When upgraded, the guns gain 10 extra rounds, as well as a little Deadpoop that launches every 5th shot, and the swords slice faster and can headshot, which is not as useless as you might think, but is still pretty useless. Swapping weapons also swaps your secondary fire. The guns give you access to Headshot, which lets you literally grab your character icon from the corner of the screen and throw it at enemies. This does a sweet little bit of AoE damage wherever it lands, then returns to you. On Heal Pool, this can also heal your allies, and on Tank Pool, this ability is entirely replaced by a Unicorn Bubble Shield, which works exactly how you would expect a Bubble Shield to work. When upgraded, Headshot gets launched again after it returns to you, and on the 3rd throw, it explodes, while the upgraded Bubble Shield works exactly how you would expect a slightly better bubble shield to work. With the swords out, you can use Hazardous Hijinks, a basic dash with a sword attack at the end. You have 2 charges of it, and if you land the attack, you get a reset on it, up to 2 extra times per charge. As tank pool, you only get one charge of this attack, and as heal pool, you don't get resets. But in both cases, those features are unlocked after you upgrade the ability, so you basically end up with the base dual pool version. And if you upgrade as dual pool, it removes the limit on your resets, allowing you to spam this ability infinitely as long as you keep hitting enemies. This is one of the most fun aspects of Deadpool's kit, and almost convinced me to swap from playing mostly tank to mostly DPS, but keep in mind that it doesn't prevent damage in any way. If you get greedy with it, it's really easy to get smoked pretty fast, so use it responsibly. All upgraded versions also add in a little bounce after you hit the attack, which is what makes your headshotting katanas into more than just a novelty item.
Spider-Man, waited long enough. What are you aiming at?
Joke's on you, I don't have to worry about touching the floor.
Regardless of which weapon you have active, your other major ability is Deadpool in your area, which creates an area around you inside which enemies take constant psychic damage and get a taunt effect, where miniature Deadpools cover all the important parts of their screen. Additionally, depending on which role you're playing, the field grants different effects to yourself and your allies. An attack speed upgrade to tank pool, damage reduction for dual pool, and constant healing for heal pool and his teammates. On upgrade, you also get damage resistance for tank pool and his friends, double psychic damage for dual pool, and a damage boost for heal pool and his allies. Deadpool also has a double jump, which is called bunny hop, in what I assume is a reference to how much the devs love adding that tech in. For the most part, it's a standard double jump, except that jumping on enemies' heads deals damage and refreshes the cooldown, unless you're tank pool, who only gets these refreshes during his ultimate. On dual pool, this also grants bonus health, and on heal pool, it can be used on teammates to heal them a little bit, and also build ult charge like crazy. Speaking of, we have his ultimate, and as if all that wasn't enough, it changes depending on which weapon you have active. If your guns are out, Deadpool uses Rage Bait.
What are you aiming at?
Targeting one enemy and invoking their deepest insecurities to deal damage whenever they whiff a shot. Depending on which pool you're playing in, there are also bonus effects. Tank pool gets bonus health and healing every time the target misses. Dual pool's effect does extra damage, and heal pool and his teammates get burst healing. On top of that, his ultimates can be upgraded just like any of his other abilities. When upgraded, the affected enemy takes constant damage over time in addition to the miss penalty. Dual pool adds a vulnerability effect whenever they miss, and heal pool gets a little bit extra healing. His other ultimate, Deadpool Diff, immediately gives you a speed boost and healing over time, as well as challenging you to land a specified number of abilities on enemies within a 12-second timer. Tank pool also generates bonus health for himself and his allies during this time, and heal pool heals his allies as well as himself. If you complete the challenge in time, your buffs get supercharged, and if you have the ability upgraded, your cooldowns get reset. If you don't complete the challenge, everyone in the lobby laughs at you and you uninstall the game. Whew. Okay, did you get all of that? No? Well, that's okay, because it's really intuitive once you hop into the practice range and try him out. Deadpool has a lot of complexity and nuance to his kit, but in practice, he's a very simple character to play. He's actually probably a great first character for new players, due to the fact that he's really easy to pick up, has lots of room for skill expression, and can flex to any role without too much adaptation of strategy. His dual mode kit gives you a good amount of practice both at range and in melee, and his healing factor gives you a cushion to make mistakes and get away with them. In fact, getting away with things is a running theme in Deadpool's kit. Between his dash and his jump, he's definitely one of the more mobile characters, and you might notice that dual pool has the bonus health on B-Hop and damage-resistant Deadpool in your area. Both traits you might expect to make more sense on tank pool, but that are on the duelist version because the devs wanted to avoid making him a complete glass cannon. All versions of Truthful Timmy have at least some really powerful survivability tools.
Harris, you need to get out of there.
Yep, and there's a very good reason for this. DP is able to apply really strong burst pressure in his melee mode, using his dashes, annoying aura, and Goomba stomps to shave away large chunks of the enemy's health bar. And like most melee characters, there comes a point when his cooldowns are burned and his priority becomes saying sayonara as quickly as possible. Unlike most melee characters though, you're not really looking for a full-on disengage. Running away and hiding with a health pack while your cooldowns recharge would waste an opportunity to use your extremely powerful gold-plated 50 caliber Desert Eagle pistol arrows. So you're only really looking to go and hide behind your big, strong tanks where you can whip them out safely. This means he ends up playing much more front to back than someone like Iron Fist or D-Devil. Instead of jumping supports from out of nowhere, Deadpool is looking to surprise tanks and overconfident DPS from straight down mid, and then retreat immediately after they've had a chance to collect themselves. Hence his very powerful but very temporary burst survivability. Meant to keep him alive only as long as the enemy is confused, and then drive him back into cover. This makes him very weak to CC and anti-mobility tools like Emma's Grab or Mantis' Sleep, as getting caught out of position after your healing factor is burned is basically an instant death sentence. Of course, this gameplay changes based on what role you're filling, but not by much. Obviously, as a tank, it's a little harder for you to get back into safety because, well, you're meant to be providing the safety. Ugh, responsibility. But never fear, that's why Tankpool brought his emotional support unicorn. When you reach the point in Deadpool's loop where you're supposed to hide behind the front line as the front line, you can throw out the plushie to cover your shift on, hopefully off tank, for a second, protecting you while you recover your health and mentally prepare to face-check Bucky shots again. This is its primary use, and while you should absolutely block a maximum pulse for your supports if you get the opportunity, selfish bubbling is basically the only real tanking ability you have, so don't be saving this cooldown for anyone else when you could use it instead. Personally, I prefer to use my dashes for peeling divers off my supports rather than mounting a full frontal assault. But especially when a Strange starts getting too big for his britches and tries walking on my team, it has been useful to swap to the ninja swords and ask him very politely to back off. Otherwise, my preferred strategy is to stick to the guns and pop his double-time DPIYA when someone's low to try and finish them off. Dual Pool is the truest form of Deadpool. Tank and Support Pool are both sort of off-roll half DPS, like Thor or Ultron. That said, the extra survivability those two have is definitely noticeable after you've played a few rounds on Dually. If you get caught out of position, there is very little you can do aside from pray to Guang Guang that your healing passive is off cooldown. And while the infinite dashes are fun, there's not much else he does particularly better than either of the other two. Honestly, in my personal opinion, you're better off running either of the other rules than Duelist if you're going to play Deadpool, and most other heroes than Deadpool if you're going to run Duelist. But if your heart is set on running Dual Pool specifically, he can absolutely get the job done. Just don't get too overzealous, and make sure you're hitting your dashes, because once you run out, you can easily find yourself stranded and surrounded by a bunch of very marketable and very angry superhumans. Heal Pool shakes up the standard Deadpool formula by asking you not to jump into the enemy team at all, which is not to say that you shouldn't be using your katanas. I've found that the healing on his deagles is pretty lackluster, actually, so playing sit in the back and heal bot isn't really a very good option for this character. Actually, as I mentioned earlier, Heal Pool plays more like a DPS because, more than any of the other versions, he wants to be out in the front line slicing and dicing with the best of them. His melee attack is remarkably similar to the Rogue Gambit team-up. You know, the one that everyone said was stupid overpowered, only as a constant passive ability. This makes him insanely powerful alongside brawly tank characters like The Thing or Emma, because now they receive constant healing along with a partner in crime to help them deal damage. The catch is, unlike the team-up, Deadpool's katana attacks don't heal himself. This is a problem, because where other strategists usually have tools to shake off the little bits of damage they acquire without needing too much from their partners, Deadpool essentially requires the healing input of another DPS to function. While this can still work because he's providing just as much output as any other second healer, it necessitates that the second strategist essentially pocket the DP and only occasionally glance at everyone else, which is counterintuitive to the standard strategy of healing everyone approximately equally, usually even neglecting the second strategist a little bit because of their aforementioned self-healing. This is why Heal Pool works best in triple support comps, because not only does he benefit from the extra healing floating around, but it also means that your team isn't left destitute if your extremely exposed frontline healer gets taken out of the action. He is extremely effective within those comps though, because his high damage output and aggressive healing ultimate are a boon to the usually defensive triple support meta. Regardless of which version you play, Deadpool has one very clear role on any team, and that's to be the most annoying little prick possible. Remember when the concept of Rage Bait Spider-Man was introduced? The strategy of playing Spidey specifically to annoy the other team as much as possible? Deadpool is what happened after NetEase heard that and said, wait, that's actually a pretty good idea. His powerful survivability allows you to consistently escape from fights just when they think they have you beat. His fast, jumpy movement makes it really hard for anyone to hit shots on you, and his ranged form means that you can keep poking at them and stay annoying at all times. On top of that, everything about his design and animation gives off the impression that he's not taking anything seriously, which is infuriating to play against. He has the only dedicated solo ult in the game, for crying out loud. Anytime I play Deadpool, I do my best to make an enemy. Usually a DPS, although sometimes I'll go for a tank, and do everything in my power to annoy the hell out of them. The magic of it is that unlike Spider-Man, playing Deadpool to rage bait is just like playing him optimally. Jumping one specific person, playing in the most obnoxiously show-offish way possible, using your ult exclusively on them. These all have built-in rewards in Deadpool's kit, so playing this way has additional benefit alongside riling your opponent up. If they don't fall for it, no skin off your teeth. Deadpool is built in such a way that he kind of passively fills whatever role he's playing in without too much work, by throwing out shields on cooldown or healing just by existing nearby. Usually you're not sacrificing much by playing very selfishly. And if they do fall for your taunts, it does provide an actual substantial benefit to your team. That's why Deadpool is also the first pay-to-unlock character in Rivals, because his gameplay loop is incomplete without his signature middle finger emoji.
I kind of want to buy the Deadpool emote pack exclusively for the middle finger emoji.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, the other ones are good. The other ones are fine, but like,
But
that's
that
the
one's just
one
funny.
that's, yeah. I did
That's
it. I
so
just bought it.
situational.
I couldn't help
I
myself.
couldn't resist.
When I first saw the Deadpool release trailers, I was a little skeptical. With the triple roll and upgrade system gimmicks, I was worried they had gone overboard on the meta level design and he was going to feel overpowering and out of place when he was released. But I should have known better. The devs did an excellent job of capturing the chaotic force of unapologetic irreverence that is Deadpool, right down to his core gameplay strategy consisting of affecting your opponents on a personal, outside of the game level. Open every match by sinking shot after shot into the opponents from mid-range and then taking a quick selfie with their dead friends to get in their heads, as well as build up XP so you can get that sweet, sweet bling. Once you're all dripped out, build up your ult charge by stylishly bobbing and weaving around their shots with your katanas, or at least pretend to while you soak up the fire with your healing factor. Then run away like a little, make a tactical reposition once their CC abilities come off cooldown, never giving them the satisfaction of actually catching you because the only person you ever satisfy is yourself. And at just the right moment, or whenever you feel like it, you can ult and either take that one guy in particular who's been annoying you down a peg, or snatch MVP from that Jeff by putting on a display so spectacular, Guang Guang has no choice but to overlook your 23 deaths and give the title to you. Count your shots, always put in maximum effort, and never forget that you donde está la biblioteca. And that's how you play Deadpool.
Did someone say we're headed for BootyCon? Oh, you got me.
You heard that?
Thanks for watching this video, and if you liked it, I'll hopefully have a ton more like it soon. These videos do take a while to write and edit, so if you could drop a thumbs up down below to let me know you appreciated it, I'd be super grateful. And if you're not subscribed, this video is episode 1 of a series I'm making covering every single Rivals hero. So if you want to catch the future episodes, subscribing is a great way to make sure they appear in your feed. Next time we'll start with the real first of the A's, Adam Warlock. I'll see you all then, and until then, remember, never surrender.
Like a soldier, I just don't move forward. Always getting closer, marching till it's over. I'm just like a soldier, I just don't move forward.